Four Nations done. Who do you think's going to take the cup? Welcome back, motherfuckers. It is us here, Fucked Up Podcast. Your favorite losers, best friends, whatever we are to you. We're happy to be it. I, much like I am every week, am Danger Water, hosting this week. With me are my three BFFs. I mean, let's be honest. I was going to call them three of my BFFs, but there really aren't. But we have the lovely, the beautiful, the hilarious D. I'm not going to call you D-Bag anymore. It feels disingenuous because you're not a D-Bag.
Okay.
We have the super spoonable and bald Chris.
I'm not bald anymore, y'all. Growing my hair back.
I think it's the worst decision ever. I'll be honest.
Not in your head.
He just wants to prove a point.
Mainly it's because it's expensive as fuck.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
We'll just call it what it is. The gloating Gosmal, the Canadian hockey fan / Canadian of our little family here.
Our family Canadian, is that what we're going to refer to him as?
Our family Canadian. There we
Family
go.
Canadian.
That's what it is. Family Canadian.
Everyone's favorite Canadian.
I will
That's
make it
terrific.
known that he does not live in Canada anymore. So he is also American.
I'm in South
Fuck
Canada.
you.
South Canada. Nobody calls it that.
In Minnesota,
don't-
there's literally a city called Little Canada. So fuck you.
I believe it.
I am from South Canada.
As someone who's
in,
as-
in Maine, there's a town called New Canada, so it's
New Canada.
Well, then it's
Yeah.
New Canada.
Yeah.
He always
Little
calls
Canada.
Maine South Canada. I've never in my life heard anyone say that. Ever. Never,
I
ever
see
have
a
I
lot
heard
of-
that.
Like
I say it all the
Joking.
time.
people including Minnesota and Canada, but never Maine.
Yeah, Minnesota, North
Yeah.
Dakota, like those. Yeah, those I could see. Maine, not
Nah,
much.
North
Dude,
Dakota
Maine,
can
they are
suck it,
so
though.
New England.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, we're back. We're here. Got lots of things to talk about today. Dee, why don't you lead us off with the ladies of the PWHL
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the
Happy to.
controversy, from what I hear. Well, not necessarily controversy, but
Well, there's always a little bit of controversy.
Two
So
halves this
we
time.
will start with the PWHL and a bad girl incident we had. The PWHL announced that after review by the safety committee, Boston Fleet forward Hannah Brandt has been fined $250. The incident reviewed occurred at 1:43 of the first period in the Fleet's game against the New York Sirens on Sunday afternoon in Buffalo. The player safety committee determined that Brandt delivered a dangerous cross-check to the head of opponent Brooke Hobson that went unpenalized during the game. This is the first fine that Brandt has been assessed in her career. So that is, again, we've talked about it before, $250 doesn't sound like all that much. But when you don't make that much to begin with, $250 is kind of all they can do.
yeah.
But glad that they took that seriously. Again, we never support dangerous checks to the head. Always keep it safe, and don't try to ruin other people's careers.
Right.
And then, speaking of that game between the Boston Fleet and the New York Sirens, we just saw our next installment of the Takeover Tour happen at KeyBank Center on Sunday. The Fleet extended their winning streak to 4 games in a shootout win, whereas New York, unfortunately, extended their losing streak to 7. So they're in a bit of a slump. They got to do something to get out of that. I'm sure they felt really close with having it go into OT, and then just couldn't pull it off, unfortunately. It was a scoreless third period and obviously a scoreless overtime. So they were fighting hard. Speaking of fights, also, the PWHL did recently have its first ever fight between 2 women that got broken up pretty quickly. But it was just kind of cool to see that finally make its way into the women's game as well. And because they wear the bubbles, it's, they're not going to take their gloves off because then you're just punching plastic and that shit hurts more than
It was a
punching
good
a
scrap,
face.
though.
So it was, it was pretty
It was a good scrap.
Yeah. Definitely appreciated it. The next Takeover Tour, I don't know when it is, but it is coming up and you'll be able to see it whenever that happens. So yeah, be sure to look out for that. And then lastly, we have our favorite segment for sure, which is the Shark Beauty Canada presents the 3 stars of the week for the week of the February 17th through the 23rd. All right, as always, let's jump in with our 3rd star. This week going to Hannah Miller, a forward for the Toronto Scepters. Miller had a hand in all 4 Toronto goals on Wednesday, becoming the first PWHL player to collect 2 goals and 2 assists in a single contest as the Scepters defeated the Sirens 4-1 at Prudential Center. Miller became the 3rd PWHL player and first forward to collect 4 points in a single game, joining defenders Claire Thompson of Minnesota and Erin Ambrose of Montreal. On the way to earning her 3rd PWHL Star of the Week recognition of the season and her 2nd in as many weeks, Miller opened the scoring with an even-strength goal at 7:53 of the second period and then helped Toronto's league-leading power play produce 3 goals to seal the outcome. On an assist from Miller, Julia Gosling notched the 2-0 game winner during a Toronto power play at 13:12 of the second period, and Miller padded the Scepters' lead to 3-0 at 9:19 of the third. Less than 2 minutes after Carpenter gave New York some comeback thoughts, Gosling collected her 2nd of the night on an assist from Miller and Renata Fast. Just 19 seconds after New York's Gabby Rosenthal took a minor for high sticking. With 10 goals this season, Miller trails only Marie-Philippe Poulin of Montreal, who has 11. Miller's 12 assists lead a 4-way tie for 3rd among PWHL playmakers. Our 2nd star is Kristen Campbell, the goalie for the Toronto Scepters. Campbell made 23 saves in a 4-1 victory at New York on Wednesday and followed that performance with 22 stops and a 2-1 win over the Frost at Xcel Energy Center in Minnesota. The Scepters' first victory ever at Xcel, mind you. Sunday's victory was Campbell's 5th of the season and her 3rd straight, her longest such run of the campaign. The 27-year-old from Brandon, Manitoba, has permitted, it just says man, and I had to really think about that. I was like, that's not a state, so that has to be
From
Manitoba.
Brandon, man.
Yeah.
Has permitted only 1 goal in each of those 3 past outings. The only goal she surrendered to Minnesota was scored by Michaela Cava during a Frost power play. New York's Alex Carpenter was the only player to beat Campbell at even strength during the 2 games that helped Toronto's run its overall winning streak to 6. The second-place Scepters have points in 9 consecutive games and have pulled within 2 points of league-leading Montreal, which has played 3 fewer games. Heading into tomorrow night's showdown against the Victoire at Place Bell. Lastly, our first star this week is Emily Clark, a forward for the Ottawa Charge. Clark contributed 2 goals, 2 assists, and 8 shots to Ottawa's attack during the week in which the Charge split a pair of narrow decisions at TD Place, losing 3-2 in overtime to the Boston Fleet on Thursday, before collecting a 3-1 win on Saturday over the Montreal Victoire. Clark created some late-game heroics in the game against Boston, helping to force overtime by setting up Teresa Venisova's game-tying 15-foot rocket to the top corner with 2.9 seconds remaining in regulation. Clark participated in all 3 Ottawa goals on Saturday, setting up Stephanie Markowski's first career PWHL goal at 9:08 of the first period, then answering Laura Stacey's second period goal with one of her own at 16:41 of the second, and adding an empty net score with 1:07 to play. That tally clapped the first multi-goal game and 3-point performances of Clark's PWHL career. Clark is riding a 5-game point streak, the longest current run in PWHL, authoring 3 goals, 5 assists in that skein, and raising her season's total to 6 goals and 7 assists. The 6 goals is a PWHL career high for Clark, and our current point total is within 2 of matching the 4 goals, 11 assists she aggregated in 24 total games last season. So with that, a quick recap of our first, second, and third place. In third place, we have Alex Carpenter with 40 points. We have a tie at second between Abby Boreen and Hannah Miller with 50 points. And very clearly in the lead is Marie-Philippe Poulin with 90 points so far this season.
Shocker. Who's surprised at this point?
Right.
She's a beast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
She is completely a beast.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
So that is it for our ladies. And we have no men this week because the men
we
were
have no men.
at the
Our men are
friggin' whatchamacallit. All
We
of the
have
men are
0
gone.
men this week.
We have 0 men.
Our men are gone. Chris, you should black out you and Maul's cameras in that
As soon as
moment.
you say
Our
that,
men
just
are gone.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
Our
where
men
are
are
they
gone.
gone?
Where did our men go?
Just replace us with a cat hanging there, being like, hang in, or hang in, baby, or something like that.
And I have
Hang
that
in there.
picture. I have that picture.
Hold on.
I have the Cat in the Hat one that I use for a BRB screen.
Fucking love that picture, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Dee, for that update. But I also hear you have some Ovi news.
Oh,
For
do
us.
I ever.
We love
Um,
Obi knows.
So yes, Ovechkin has found some new goals. There are new records to break. Most notably, he is, I think, 13 away from beating Wayne Gretzky's record. Not tying, he's 13 away from beating. So we're going to see Gretzky and Gary Bettman start to follow him around here soon. They said that they want to start within like 5 goals of the record, following him to every game. Which also, like, side note, that's got to be like adding extra like tension onto things.
You're
I would
right.
be like, oh my
Pressure
god,
is
my boss.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It was it
But-
was incredible.
For anybody, like Ovi seems to handle that kind of pressure
Yeah.
better than anybody else because he just has fun with it. Like he doesn't seem to really, at least on the outside, let it bother him.
Yeah.
I would really love to know how he does it, but
The only thing that bothers him is when he doesn't score and they lose. He gets very
Yeah.
upset by that because he
Now-
just wants to contribute. That's all.
So
right.
I have a question. Do you think that when he does it,
hmm
they will pause the game to do a celebration?
Oh, I'm sure they'll have something
well,
go.
That'll depend.
Or do
So
you think
if-
that they're going to wait until the game is over and then do a celebration?
It depends on where they are. If he manages to break the record at Cap One Arena, there's
Oh my
no
God,
way
yeah,
that everyone's not
absolutely.
throwing their hats on the rink and shit's
Yeah.
gonna go wild.
Yeah.
If he is on the road, I don't know how many fans are going to lose their shit and cause there to be an interruption. I don't think they will
Right.
plan an interruption because that's not really fair to the other team.
Yeah.
Right.
It'll be a result of fan behavior more than anything else.
I
my
truly
opinion.
think, though, no matter where it happens, because it's going to happen,
Yeah.
everyone is so excited for the chance to see it happen
Yeah.
that whether he's on the road or at home, everyone's rooting for Ovi at
Just
this
to
point.
be
You
a
know what I
part of
mean?
something
Oh, yeah.
special.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know?
Like,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I want him to come to Boston and beat Boston just so I can see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
He's very much become the player to see, like Gretzky was when he played.
absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
he's always
I
been that
think-
guy.
And he
I
has
think
been
it's
for a long
more
time, but-
because of
Yeah.
the fact that we're so close to something that, let's be honest, not many people ever expected to
Yeah.
see Wayne's, at least
They thought it was
goal
impossible,
record
yeah.
be scored or
Right.
broken. Hi, Garfield.
Yeah. I think that no matter what, wherever he goes, once he gets within a couple, they will be sending a video package to each arena to play during
Just
intermission or
because,
after
yeah.
the goal, just to celebrate that. I think that'll be at the NHL's request more so than at the Capitals' request,
Oh, absolutely.
just because of how like monumentous it is.
big deal. It's a big
Well,
deal.
and
But
you know
yes.
that they're gonna capitalize on that because
Yeah.
it's more viewership for them. This is
Right.
more stuff to celebrate within
Yeah.
the organization.
Yeah, you want more good sound bites.
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And I mean,
Yeah.
this is someone who's going to be solidifying himself as the greatest goal scorer in NHL history. Like that's
Yeah.
beyond such a big deal. And that's not to take anything away
Right.
from Gretzky. Gretzky still is
Is
and
Gretzky,
probably will
yeah.
always be the best player ever. But when it
Yeah.
comes to goal
He will
scoring,
always be the great one.
when it comes down to it, it's gonna be real fucking hard to find anyone who's gonna debate that best goal scorer ever with Ovi, because
Yeah.
you take out a record like that stood for what, 25, 30 years almost.
30
Yeah,
years, yeah.
30
Yeah,
years
for
almost.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on Sunday, the Capitals played the Edmonton Oilers at Capital One Arena.
Mhm.
This was part of their back-to-back series where they played the Pittsburgh Penguins and then the Edmonton Oilers, wherein in a 24-hour period, and I'm not joking, it was like 24 hours and 0 minutes, they scored 15 goals against
They
their
whipped the
competition.
shit out of the Penguins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat the Penguins like 8-2. Ovechkin is responsible for 3 of those 15 goals because he got a hat trick on Sunday against Edmonton, which we love a hat trick. Very funnily, earlier in the game, they interviewed Spencer Carberry and they were asking him, it was like one of those, bench moments in between periods or whistles or whatever. And they asked Spencer Carberry if he thinks Ovechkin is going to meet the record before the end of the season. And he was like, oh, yeah, I think absolutely he'll get it. He just needs a couple of those 2 or 3 goal games. And what do you know? Shit pops off the next second and he gets 3 goals that night. So it's just funny timing to be asking that of the bench boss. And then seconds later, he sells it. So with that, on Sunday, Now Ovechkin has tied Phil Esposito with 32 for 5th most hat tricks in NHL history. He's behind Wayne Gretzky with 50, so that is a record he will not break. Just going to call that one. Mario Lemieux with 40. Why did I say that weird? Mike Bossy
Lemieux.
with 39, or Brett Hull with 33. So he could beat Brett Hull and potentially even overtake Mike Bossy before his career is up. He has now officially tied Jaromir Jagr for his record with 135 game-winning goals. So he just needs to get one more game-winning goal, and he has beaten Jagr and holds that record as well. He has scored the 167th empty net goal of his career, just adding to his record total there. Again, adding to his record total, he has scored against 181 different goalies, something that no other person has done. He has become the first player in NHL history to score at least 200 goals in 3 different decades, scoring 245 in the 2000s, 437 in the 2010s, and 200 so far in the 2020s.
That's wild.
That's nuts.
Unbelievable.
This is his first hat trick against the Edmonton Oilers, giving him at least one hat trick against 20 different franchises. And this ties Hull for the most in NHL history. He just needs to get a hat trick against one other franchise. I don't know, maybe the Kraken or the Vegas Golden Knights or one of the newer ones, I guess. And he will own that record as well. So again, at like 38, almost 39 years old, this man has found a few more records to break, including he is just one more goal away from his 19th season with at least 30, which would increase his own record total there as well. It is wild. Insane, the output that this man has. And I think that you can have a conversation about who is better, Crosby or Ovechkin. You can have a conversation about who is better, Gretzky or Ovechkin. But what we cannot have a conversation about is that watching this man play right now is bringing people into the sport. And it's fucking entertaining. These kinds of stats draw people in because they're just impressive any way you look at it. 181 different goalies that he's embarrassed. What an incredible stat. And on top of that, some of those goalies have come out and they've been like, you know what, I'm actually really happy to be on that list because now I'm in history. They might be goalies that didn't go as far in their career as they would have wanted. You know, they're not going to ever be like a Marc-Andre Fleury or anything like that. Or a Patrick Waugh. So they get to at least live on in Alex Ovechkin's legends. You know what I mean? And that's kind of cool too.
And he's 39. Like, to see this sort of output in the NHL from a guy his age, it doesn't really happen often. And the fact that he's still playing like he was playing in 2011, it is like, it's insane. And I will admit that when this all first went down, I was skeptical on if he would even break the record. Because you never know with players at that age, sometimes they fall off very aggressively.
And he broke his leg at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
and he came back after like
nothing else.
4
I was
weeks.
more worried when he broke his leg.
He
came back after like 4 weeks.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
And he has, so this season, he has a .71 goals per game percentage. This season.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
That's
at 39.
That's nuts.
Like, it's, you just,
Ovi, save
Spencer
some
Carver
pussy
said you
for the
can't
rest of
write
us.
this stuff.
Right.
It's really, and his kid was there. Both of his kids were there right behind the glass on Sunday. And Sergey, the older of the two, he's like 6 or 7. After Ovi scored his first goal, he goes over to the glass and he fist bumps his kid. And it was so cute. Such a great moment. Well, he scores again, fist bumps him again. Very cute. Such a great moment. And then you see his son ask for 3.
Oh,
and Daddy delivered, man.
That's amazing.
That's
I love
so
that.
cute.
Yeah. And so then they had switched sides at that point because he scored the third in the third period. Because, again, shout out to the Edmonton Oilers. They gave us an empty net situation with Alex Ovechkin on ice. I think that was a personal favor to a friend. They were like, you know what? We've already embarrassed ourselves enough. We can't come back from a 7 or a 6-2 defeat with like 3 minutes left. So we're just going to let Alex, get one.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what got him his third goal. And so then he skated all the way to the other side where his kid was to give him that third fist bump and deliver on, the ask, I guess. It was so cute. And again, like that's such good hockey too. Like to see those moments between fathers and their children.
Oh, yeah.
I love
Love it.
seeing shit like that. I think it's great. I think not every hockey player gets to have their kids be a part of their journey and gets to, at least so publicly. So yeah, it's just great. And we had to talk about it because again, how many more records did he break or beat?
Right.
6 or 7 on
Crazy.
like every game is that way now. When he scores, it's like, all right, what other record did he extend or, you know, beat someone out of 4th place or
It's
just crazy.
It's Ovi's world. We're all just living in it.
Yeah.
Right. I also want to point out that the pressure of your son being there and asking you for more goals will forever top Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, or anyone else being
and
there.
when you're not
because
even your
that
son's
is
favorite
wild.
player.
Exactly.
That's the best part. You're not even your kid's favorite player.
You're not even his favorite hockey player, but you still do it for
Bell of all the dudes in the world. It's not Connor McDavid, who did take a picture with both Ilya and Sergei after the game. It was very cute. It's not Connor McDavid. It's not anybody else. It's fucking Obeku Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so wild. It's so funny.
I love it. We love to see it. And we are definitely watching with bated breath at this point.
Yeah, it is funny though that you mentioned, Chris, that it's just Ovi's world and we're all living in it. One of the announcers, I guess the game was on TNT, so it must have been one of them, had mentioned that it's Tom Wilson's team now because Tom Wilson had led scoring up until yesterday for the team. So they did an interview with Ovechkin at the bench after the game, and the guy was like, "Hey, Ovi, I just have to apologize. I said some really insensitive things earlier in the broadcast saying that this was Tom Wilson's team, and I apologize to you for being so wrong about it." But like Ovi only heard the first half of the question, so he goes, "No, it is his team. Yeah, this is Tom's team now." He just like went with it, which I think is so funny.
I love it.
That's great.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, from one of our favorite teams to another favorite team of the four of us, mine. Just a quick little note. Ryan Hartman, who we talked about a couple of weeks ago, was originally suspended for 10 games. The commissioner did reduce the length of that down to 8 on Valentine's Day. He still won't be eligible to return until March 4th when we play Seattle at Seattle. I do recommend for anybody interested in it, the 13-page document from the ruling is available on NHL.com on their news article from the public relations people. There's a link to it, but it is definitely an interesting thing. I definitely agree again with the suspension in a whole. Not only was it obviously an intentional pushing down.
He had locked him and drove him to the ground. Like I can live with 8 games. I think 8 games is reasonable.
I can live with 8 games, especially given they talked in the report, and I won't go into all of the details, but they talked about other players that have been suspended multiple times and for what and how many games they were suspended for on their 5th suspension. And comparing to Hartman's suspension, people like Kadri, Kane, Tom Wilson, and how their 5th suspensions were lighter than 10 games. And that kind of, it seemed sway. Hartman, I guess, is suffering from an injured thumb, which was, if you read the article, it comes into play a little bit, and mentioned being off balance quite a bit. Again, it's clear that he means to push him to the ice. I don't think he meant to cause the laceration and the stitches. But he, it's clearly
a headlock and kind of front force drop definitely could do that to somebody for sure.
Well, right. Yeah. So he ended up with 2 cuts and 5 stitches, a bruise. I think at the time of the appeal, he had already served 4 games of that suspension, so he had 4 left.
Yeah, so. they are going to retroactively.
But yeah, definitely an interesting document to read for those of you other nerds out there. But yeah. So happy to see that he'll be back a little bit quicker. I love Hartman. I don't think he's like a dick of a guy.
No.
My favorite thing ever is still when he flipped off Evander Kane.
Your team's not the only one with a player suspended too, which I know we'll definitely talk about in a little bit as well. So.
Right. Well, and
yeah,
that suspension
Chris,
came on
who
so
would
long
that
ago.
be?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Whose
Yeah.
team is third on the list right now for a talking point in this show?
Yeah.
Right. But in other news, Maul has some updates on the viewership numbers for the Four Nations, and I'm very curious about it.
Yeah, so this is actually very exciting. So the Four Nation face-off ratings are finally out, and to no surprise, based on the rivalry between the States and Canada, especially after the first game, where they played against each other on February 15th with a wild start to the game with 3 fights in 9 seconds, that when they got a rematch, surprise, more people were going to tune in. This championship game is of the best on best tournament was watched by 16.1 million viewers, gaining the title for the most viewed non-NFL game ever on ESPN Plus, and the second most watched NHL game on the platform, falling closely behind the number 1 most watched game, which was Game 7 of last year's Stanley Cup Finals between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers, which drew 16.3 million viewers. So it lost out by 200,000 people, which is nothing when it comes to viewership.
Yeah.
Now,
especially for a cup game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know that they got a trophy for the tournament, but like a non-Stanley Cup game to get that much attention is fucking wild.
And it destroyed any variation of any all-star game that any other sport did or NHL has ever done in the past. Now, of the 16.1 million people that watched the game, 9.3 million of the viewers were from the United States and 6.3 million were from Canada. Overall, these 7 games, which also included Sweden and Finland, averaged 6.5 million viewers per game. And there were 7 total games, which is up 256% from the World Cup of Hockey that took place in 2016. So this is a massive success. This is a massive improvement. And this is a huge step in a positive evolution of hockey and what it can do and the fan base. And honestly, these numbers don't surprise me.
Well, and I think the other thing, think the other thing that everyone's kind of forgetting is the fact that the Four Nations face-off went up against NBA All-Star Weekend. You know?
Yeah.
And you have players, you had people like, even players like Kevin Durant, who multiple-time NBA champion, one of the best in the league, talking about the fact that the sport in itself, basketball, has become very much so a non-physical sport. The physicality's died out. And he's even telling people, look, go watch hockey. That's, if you want a better sport than what we offer you, go watch the NHL. Like, Rich Eisen was talking about it. PK Subban was on multiple different shows on ESPN talking about it. The hockey has hit such a boom because of this. And like the fact that people all over all sorts of entertainment, people that I've never seen talk about hockey ever, are like, I want to know more about this sport. What, help me learn. I mean, Ariana Grande, who's known for being a longtime Florida Panthers fan, going to games, even she was put it out. She was like, I've been telling literally anyone who will listen about the Four Nations face-off. So I'm like, that's what we need. This sport is better than anything that people are watching. And like, we're so passionate about it. I'm so happy that this is what we're seeing.
Yeah, same.
And honestly, after what we saw with the NBA All-Star, not the All-Star game, but their skills competition, where the players weren't even trying to show off their skills. They were just going for time.
Yeah.
This destroyed that. People got so frustrated at that, and that caused such an outrage in the NBA community that people are like, why am I watching you guys not give a shit and not try when I can go watch hockey? And people are literally taking injuries, potential career-ending injuries
for an exhibition game.
for an exhibition game in honor of their country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sparked a debate, and it's sparked a lot of conversation around the NBA and how they're in some trouble because the NHL season runs perpendicular with their season. So like if this is what you're showing for an exhibition weekend and this is what the NHL is showing, how many of those young kids 18 to 35 are going to be like, I'm done with fucking basketball. Get me into hockey. Let me dive into this, you know.
Especially because now we're seeing a lot more diversity in hockey, which is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Now people of all ages, all genders, all races are looking at it like, I can play hockey. Like, this is awesome. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, we were talking about PK Subban, right? He got so fired up about it that when he got to play in the LA Fire charity hockey game, he got into a fight.
So did Justin Bieber. It was pretty great.
Right. I mean, like, sure, Subban got, you know, his butt handed to him pretty quick, but still, he got
not real
so
fights, but
fired up about it.
Right.
Oh, he left the ice so upset, though. It was funny. But
that's awesome.
That's what made him such a great player.
Yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, the viewership is consistently going up. A tournament like this was whoever came up with the idea, give yourself a pat on the back. I know a lot of us were hesitant when it was first announced and when we first talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago, but I have a different perspective on it, and you know, I'm glad that it was as successful as it was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's successful, and I know we had talked pre-show Mall about how Bettman came out and was like, we were stunned that it was this successful, but that the focus is going to be, they're going to switch between the Olympics and then the World Cup, where they're going to have 8 nations, or 8 countries playing, and that they don't know where this is going to slot into all of that. I hope, because they can't do anything in the years where the Olympics are and all that, like it is during that all-star break time frame. So they can't put it there. And in the years that they don't have anything, I hope that they go back to an NHL All-Star kind of a something, but I hope that this becomes at least every other year as a preseason showdown.
I'm here for that.
I really, really do.
I'm here for that.
I think that would be such a good slot for it.
I mean, there are already people on social media talking about the next time that US and Canada get to face off against each other in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And they're already like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch that because that is going to be that is game 3, because right now it is a tied series.
Well, not only that, but don't forget, you want to see this much like action and anticipation for another US Canada like face off. They face off in the World Juniors every year. And every year it's just the same. So even these young 18 to 22 kids, these guys are trying to, they're trying to kill each other for the World Junior Championship as well.
Hey, Mal, do you know who won the World Junior Championship this year? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, no, I know. It was the United States.
How about last year?
Oh, okay.
Do you know who won last year?
Do you know?
Yeah,
do you know who won?
It was the United States. But guess what? Who has the most? Canada.
World Juniors?
Yes.
Yeah, that was when there was like 2 countries that played.
Hey, stats are stats.
That's like Habs fans be like, we have 23 Stanley Cups. Yeah, when there was nobody else in the league.
6 teams.
You beat 5 teams for like 80% of those.
30
Congrats.
years. Yeah. Right.
But to your point, though, the World Junior Hockey is probably even better to watch because those aren't the greats playing the greats.
The future
those
stars.
are the people who want to be future stars, the future greats. I mean, Sidney Crosby, he blew up because he got the game-winning goal in the time that he played in the World Juniors.
Yeah, I mean, look at more recent Cutter Gauthier, Trevor Zegras. Like these are names these are young, talented players we all saw. And like Maul said, that blew up in World Juniors, and there's a reason that we make sure we cover it every year. It's because it's a big tournament. It's a big deal. So I'm all for the international stuff. I agree, though, with D, this needs to happen before the season or after the season, but I would definitely love to see it come back. I think it's a good way to start the year off, personally.
And for those of you who are wanting to know or wanting to see the next time US faces Canada, It is the 2026 Olympics, which are in Milan this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are looking for a trip abroad, Italy should be nice in February, maybe. Go there.
And watch the bloodbath for yourself.
Yeah, right.
But I do think that if it becomes a regular thing, they will probably do it in the off season.
It's the best move.
They'll do it, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, where they'll have it where the teams who don't go to the Stanley Cup get to do this.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, if it's between the Stanley Cup or the Four Nations or whatever it's going to evolve into, I'm going to go for the Stanley Cup. But it gives the rest of the teams something to aim for as like a consolation prize,
I'd be okay with it that way too. I would be.
Agreed.
So only time can tell, but I can tell you that based on the performance of this tournament, we will see more.
Yeah.
Ow, Garfield. He just wants attention. He just
Garfield
the shit out of my hand.
Yeah, right. Garfield is like, actually, Maul? Let me have
Yeah.
Fuck
Do you have anything you want to include there, Kat?
Say it with your face.
Talk your shit.
Trying to talk on the microphone.
I'll check you.
Awesome. Well, yeah. I honestly and I agree. I can't wait for another tournament. I just hope it's not here in the season.
Mm-hmm.
But they done good, kids. It was entertaining. And in that news, since we are coming back to full-time games, oh shit, fantasy hockey is a thing I need to look at. Also, Chris, do you have the update on the standings for us?
I do. So we are about 58 games into the season for most teams. Start off with the Eastern Conference. Your top three in the Atlantic are the Toronto Maple Leafs with 72 points, Florida Panthers with 71 points, and the Tampa Bay Lightning with 68 points. Metropolitan Division. Number one over there is the Washington Capitals with 84 points. Carolina Hurricanes have 70 points, and the New Jersey Devils also at 70. You're looking, wild card is crazy. There are 5 teams within 4 points of each other for those wild card spots. Currently holding them, the first wild card is the Detroit Red Wings, 64 points. The Ottawa Senators are tied with the Columbus Blue Jackets for second in that spot. And I think the Columbus Blue Jackets are the best story in the NHL. The obvious tragic passing of Johnny Gaudreau and how awful that team has been the past few years. And the fact that this year they are on a mission and they are tied for a wild card spot with 20 something games left. That's real big. Western Conference. The Central Division is led by the Winnipeg Jets with 85 points. Dallas Stars are in second with 76 points, and in third, nice recovery from their skid midway through the year, but the Minnesota Wild has 72 points. Pacific Division, Vegas Golden Knights lead that division with 74 points. Edmonton Oilers are in second, 72 points. The LA Kings in third with 69 points. Your 2 wild card teams are the Colorado Avalanche with 68 points and the Vancouver Canucks with 63. That last spot has 4 or 5 teams vying for it. Realistically, Anaheim is probably the last team with a realistic shot. They are about 6 points out. So those wild card seedings are intense. Obviously, with 85 points, we know that the Winnipeg Jets lead the entire league, right ahead 1 point of the Washington Capitals. Your final 5 teams right now are in 28th place, the Seattle Kraken with 54 points. 29th, the Buffalo Sabres with 51. Nashville Predators are in 30 with 47. The 31st team is the Chicago Blackhawks with 41, and the worst team in the league currently is the San Jose Sharks with 38 points, who are 1-7-2 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, it's not looking pretty for them.
It's why it's pretty
like, it's
insane.
Really not.
No.
Yeah. And Chris, you have made it out of the basement. For
Anaheim
sure.
is very much so has a shot. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. They've won 8 of their last 10 games almost. They're putting up points. They're taking good teams to the regulation or out of regulation into overtime, into shootouts. They're doing what needs to be done. Last night they came back from being down, or 2 days ago, they came back from being down 4-0 and lost in overtime. It's
How's it feel?
It feels nice for them to not be shit. I mean, if we don't make the playoffs, you don't make the playoffs, but
the last couple of years have sucked ass for you.
This has been a very positive turnaround. Very positive turnaround.
Still some work to be done, though.
Oh, yeah. There's still time.
Yeah.
5 or 6 points out of a wild card spot. That's doable.
Our next topic is our question of the week. Who do you guys see as cup contenders now that we're past this Four Nations break? And especially given, that we have better understanding, I think, of some of the injuries that have been touch and go. With that 2-week break, we were able to kind of see more info on a lot of players who will be out the rest of the season, and some players that got hurt at the Four Nations. But Mal, let's start with you. And Toronto is not an answer. Who do you think we'll see in the playoff game? I mean, Toronto is an answer, but
I'd say Toronto's not an answer.
So honestly, going into this last weekend, Toronto was down a couple points. They had a fantastic weekend, which put them a pretty good lead into first place in the division.
Well, they got a 1-point lead in the division, but
for Toronto, that's good. Okay.
Yeah,
because
against
they
leading over Florida's big.
Well, right, and they came back from a deficit of, I think, down 4 because they got 5 points this weekend.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. I would really like to see the Winnipeg Jets do it. They're having a fantastic season. And I want more Canadian teams to chase the cup because I want a better chance for the cup to finally come back to Canada. So that way we can rub everything in the United States face this season. But you know what? There's a lot of changes that are going to happen with the trade deadline coming up. There's going to be lot of, there's a lot of speculation around who's going where and what that's going to do to teams in the league in general. At this point, there's a lot of teams very close. And like Chris was saying earlier, like there's a lot of contenders for the wild cards. I don't think that this race is over yet. And honestly, based on how this last weekend of hockey games went, where teams who you expected to win didn't, like the Bruins getting beat by the Ducks, which was fantastic to watch.
They outplayed them.
Exactly.
With that, like Boston didn't even show up.
There is so much that can change. Again, I want to see the Leafs because that's my team. I would like to see the Jets because they're having a fantastic season. But I think that this is going to be a battle to the end. And, we won't know more, or I won't have a better say until after the trade deadline and we see who moves where.
That's fair. Yeah, very fair. Dee, what about you?
Well, so obviously, I think we're going to see the Washington Capitals make it into the playoff. And hopefully, we're going to see them have a deep cup run, because that's what I personally want. And being at the top of the Metropolitan Division, I think that is totally possible. I think we'll see Carolina there again. I think New Jersey, good chance we see them. I think we're going to continue, though, to see New Jersey struggle. As they have done in previous years when they get to the cup. I do think that we see the Columbus Blue Jackets overtake the Ottawa Senators. I don't know if we see them overtake the Detroit Red Wings for first place in the wild card spot. But I think that Columbus makes it into the playoffs for sure this year. I think Winnipeg has a great chance of taking it. They've just been on fire. They've stayed consistent. We had that question earlier in the season, like they had a hot start. Are they going to keep it? They did have a little bit of a lull, but then they're really maintaining their pace, which is really great. Vegas is doing well also, though notably lower in terms of total points for their division, or in comparison to Winnipeg. And I would like to see the Utah Hockey Club climb their way into a playoff run. I think they'd be a first round exit, but I think that would be really special for the team to have that
in
their first season out of the gate. Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be great. And I think it's doable. Like they have 59 points. Vancouver has 63. They're 4 points behind. That's 2 games. You know what I mean? Yeah. That is nothing when we talk about the number of games we have left. We still have about 30 or 28, something like that, games left to play this season. I don't know. I'm bad at math, so somebody can correct me in the comments below of whatever that actual number is.
About 24.
But yeah, I think we have a lot of hockey left. I think there are definitely some people that we're not going to see. I think we're going to see Pittsburgh not make it again this year. And I think that is going to force them to actually make some big decisions with coaching and with players. Similarly, I think Montreal, we're going to have to see. I don't know what we're going to have to see there. I think the Rangers, even though they are within several points, just 2 points of the wild card position, they have been playing like shit all year. They're not reliable. So even if they do make a cup run, I don't think that they will go far. And I think that we will see a shakeup have to come there as well. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Chris, what about you?
I mean, I can't disagree with Maul or D. Like, the two obvious teams, barring a complete and utter fall off. I think it's no question that Winnipeg and Washington will be probably your tough contenders. Maul, to make you happy, think of it this way with your Canadian teams. If the playoffs were to start today, there would be 5 Canadian teams that make the playoffs. Which is wild. That's a big number considering there's 7, 6. So
yeah,
I want to say Carolina, but there's a lot of time left. The trade deadline's coming, and there's a lot of rumors around Mikko Rantanen might be getting traded again. So I don't know there. It's I mean, your closest team there, Detroit's 6 points out of third in the Metro.
Yeah.
Like, it's that division I don't think is wrapped up, but I think it's amazing to look at how close, even down to like Philadelphia, like 62 points is your cap to get in. And you've got 3 teams with 57 points that, again, realistically have a shot to make the playoffs. 4. Oh, yeah, 4.
There's 4 teams with 57 points, including the Ducks.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, my favorite part of the NHL is around this time of the year with the wild card race, because it changes so fast. Every game, every single day, something is new. Like I mentioned before, reading out the standings, Garfield, you need to get down. Thank you. The Minnesota Wild, for a good few weeks, definitely went on a skid, and I think them being able to get healthy has helped them keep that top 3 spot, and I think that's going to be really important in the Western Conference. Because there is a lot of teams. I mean, the Central Division might be the hardest hitting division in the NHL right now.
And it commonly is, I feel like. I mean, maybe that's because that's my team and it always feels that way. But
Minnesota, Dallas, Winnipeg, St. Louis, like Colorado, all of these teams are physical. They're fast. They're mean. Like, as a Ducks fan, I want to say, I think we're going to make the playoffs. Dude, shit happens. I think the realistic best shots are probably Calgary and Utah. And I wouldn't put it past Utah to string together a few good games. And with Vancouver being so up and down, they're barely over 500 right now. So Utah might be in the best position here. But this is some of the best. Honestly, this is some of the best hockey I've seen in a while. But I would be utterly shocked if Winnipeg and Washington don't make the playoffs and they don't make deep cup runs. I'd be shocked.
They would have to lose like every single game to not make the cup.
You would have to have such a dramatic
to not
fall
make the
off.
Playoffs. Yeah.
I mean, but again, you think back to 2018, 2019, St. Louis Blues were the worst team in the NHL going into the All-Star break. And they turned it around and won the cup. So as long as you get in, you got a shot. Look at the Panthers.
Look at Boston Bruins.
The Bruins, yeah.
Where they played great and had a swift exit.
First round.
It doesn't mean shit just to make it in.
Yeah.
Like
as long
we
as you're in,
see
you
that
got a shot.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think I have anything additional to add to that. So thank you. Next, we have some naughty boys. Well, a naughty boy, I should say. There's my thing. And it's an uncommon naughty boy.
Yeah.
But Trevor Zegras from the Anaheim Ducks has been suspended for 3 games for interference against Michael Rasmussen. Now, Chris, can you tell me a little bit more about what happened here? Because I saw that he was suspended, but I didn't see the video of what actually happened.
So I actually missed this point of the game. Quick bathroom break and it happens. I've seen some of the replays. I love Trevor. We all know that I'm a big Trevor Zegras fan, but bro, you can't do that shit. And you got to be interference in itself, regardless of how dangerous of a hit of it is. You're gonna get called for it every single time. And I think 3 games is fair. This is a great way to take a young player and say, hey, you fucked up. We're not going to suspend you for the rest of the year, but sit for 3 games, think about it, and then come back and learn from your mistakes. So I'm okay with it. It is what it is, man. It's part of the game. We've all been suspended at least once.
Right.
Speak for yourself. I've never had anyone on my team suspended.
No.
Never.
No, not 15 games or anything, right?
And
yeah. No. Never. Whose team is it again, D? I'm sorry.
Whose team?
Whose team?
Who's what?
Tom Wilson's team? Still Tom Wilson. I'm sorry. He didn't get traded, right?
Yeah, it's Tom Wilson's team, and he hasn't been suspended ever.
No.
Ever, not once. Yeah.
Ever this year.
Yeah, he definitely was not used as an example in Ryan Hartman thing.
Yeah.
As an example in a positive way. And for those of you that like the numbers like I do, let me just back up a titch. For the new suspension for Ryan Hartman of 8 games, that forfeits $390,243.90 of his salary, down from over $487,000. For Trevor, his 3 games forfeits $89,843.75.
I think it's on the last year.
Putting our total. Yeah. Putting our total thus far with a total of 68 games suspended. 7 were preseason, 61 have been regular season, and a total salary forfeited of $2,362,203.72. At least going for that good cause of the players' NHLPA. Is that what it's called? I blanked all of a sudden.
Yeah. NHLPA, yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, so at least it's only one person. But I was shocked to see when I got the alert Trevor.
That it was Trevor.
Yeah, because I think that's his first suspension, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it was a high hit, so it was like, I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen.
I mean, it's fair, but
shit happens.
Right.
What are you going to do,
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to the injury report. For Anaheim, we have John Gibson with an upper body injury listed as day-to-day. For Boston, updates on Charlie McAvoy. Shoulder injury on IR, expected out to be out until at least March 11th. Hampus Lindholm is now out the rest of the season on IR with a fractured patella. and did have surgery on that. For Buffalo, we have Alex Tuck, lower body listed as day-to-day. Jason Zucker. It says undisclosed here, but if I remember, yeah, it was lower body injury listed as day-to-day. He is expected to play tonight. I don't know if their game has started yet. But I did see in the article that he is expected back tonight. So we'll see. For Calgary, nobody new or updated. For Carolina, William Carrier, lower body injury, expected now to be out until March 25th. He did have surgery back in January, but they are, I guess, hoping to see him back the end of next month. For Chicago, we have Jason Dickinson with an ankle injury on IR, expected to be out until at least March 13th. For Colorado, we have Josh Manson listed as day-to-day with a lower body injury, and Gabriel Landeskog, or Skog, knee injury on IR, expected to be out until at least April 13th. If you look further into it, he did have a lingering knee injury that required surgery May of 2023, and apparently still dealing with it. So that sucks.
Yeah.
Valerie Nikushkin, lower body injury on IR, expected to be out until at least February 26th. For Columbus, we have Kevin LeBlanc. I wanted to say LeBlanc, like Matt LeBlanc. He is out with a shoulder injury on IR, expected to be out the rest of the season. And with him, he did have shoulder surgery on Friday. But I can't see if it was like a torn rotator cuff or what. Most likely it was. For Dallas, we have Leon Bischel with a concussion, expected to be out until at least March 2nd. No other new or updated. For Detroit, Andrew Kopp is out. He tore his pec muscle and will be out the rest of the season after having surgery on that. Which was, I think, I just read the article, like, dropped, I don't know, an hour ago on NHL.
Yeah.
Also for Detroit, Michael Rasmussen, upper body, expected to be out until February 27th. I believe he's the one that Zerus got his penalty against.
Yeah,
right?
That's why Trevor is suspended for 3 games, because it was a high-ass hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Edmonton, we have Alec Regula, the knee injury on IR, expected to be out until at least February 27th. Evander Kane with his knee injury on IR, expected to be out until at least March 8th. Holy, how do you say this name? For Florida, E2 Luostarinen?
I think so.
Something. I do apologize for not knowing that name, but he is out with personal reasons, expected to be back February 27th. He's not traveling with the team, waiting for the birth of a child. So, congratulations to him.
Yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk. Thank Christ. No, I'm just kidding. He is out with a groin injury, expected now to be out until at least March 11th. No! For Minnesota, Joel Eriksson Ek, undisclosed on IR, expected to be out until March 11th.
Oof.
I did not know he was hurt again. He is week to week with a lower body injury as of RotoWire 7 hours ago. Got injured practice on Monday. Kirill Kaprizov still on IR with that lower body injury, expected to be out until at least March 9th.
I feel like he's missed a good chunk of the year.
He has.
So he played,
he's had
37
a
games?
lingering injury that keeps, it just keeps bugging him. And I think it's the one that he even struggled with at the end of last year.
Right.
I want to say Kirill had surgery in the off season.
He had at the beginning of
the year.
But
I might be remembering wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, he had at the beginning of the year.
So he's missed a bunch of games. He's still, when he plays, he's performing well. But I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago when they were like, he could go out and play at 60%, or we can rest him up and he can be back at 100.
Yeah.
And it's better, especially with us being in the standings where we're at, to rest him up at this point.
Yeah.
Because we're performing well. Rossi, Faber, our young guys are really not that Krill's not a young guy, but compared to those guys, he isn't. But yeah, so hopefully we'll see him back, but I also hope he takes the time he needs to get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
For Montreal, we have Michael Pezzetta with a lower body injury, expected to be out until at least February 27th. Brendan Gallagher is listed as day-to-day for personal reasons. He is not going... Oh, he will be available for tonight's game against the Hurricanes. It doesn't say what his personal reasons were, so no baby for Brendan. Update on Caden Gooley, that quadriceps issue. He is now just expected to be out until March 1st. Kirby Dock, lower body, expected to be out until at least February 27th. For Nashville, we have Mark Jankowski, undisclosed, expected to be out until at least February 27th. Zachary Leheureux, upper body on AR, expected to be out until at least March 4th. Adam Wilsby, upper body on AR, expected to be out the rest of the season, as is Jeremy Lazon with a lower body injury. For New Jersey, we have Jacob Markstrom. I think he's one of my fantasy goalies, but he is out with a knee injury on IR, expected to be out until at least March 7th. And then I think we talked about it last week, but Jonas Siegenthaler, lower body on IR, expected to be out until at least March 11th. Lots of people for the Islanders. We have Noah Dobson, lower body on IR, expected to be out until at least February 27th. Mike Riley with a chest injury on IR, expected to be out until at least March 11th. Doesn't say... Oh, he had that heart issue last year. He had the procedure on his heart last November of 2024. So, I think they found that subsequent to a different injury, if I remember right. But hopefully he's doing better. Matt Martin, undisclosed on IR, expected to be out until at least March 3rd. Marcus Hogberg, what a great name. Upper body on IR, expected to be out until at least March 1st. And Simeon Varlamov, lower body on IR, expected to be out until at least March 9th. For the Rangers, we have Chris Kreider, there's no L there. Upper body listed as day-to-day. For Ottawa, Brady Tkachuk, I guess both brothers just fucked each other up. Or got fucked up together and whatever. Anyway, lower body listed as day-to-day. I did think I saw that he might be playing in their game tonight, or was going to be eligible, but I might be remembering that wrong. Josh Norris, upper body listed as day-to-day. Shane Pinto, upper body listed as day-to-day. Updates on Jacob Bernard Doctor with that ankle injury on IR, expected now to be out until at least February 26th. And Nick Cousins with his knee injury is on IR, expected to be out until April 1st. Nobody new for Philadelphia. For Pittsburgh, just an update on, and I apologize, Bakandi Amama, upper body on IR, expected to be out until at least February 27th. San Jose, we have Timothy Liljegren, upper body listed as day-to-day. No other new ones there. For Seattle, no new injuries. For St. Louis, just an update on Alexander Texier. Illness expected to be out until February 27th. For Tampa Bay, we have Jonas Johansson, lower body listed as day-to-day. For Toronto, we have Max Pacioretty, undisclosed, expected to be out until at least February 28th. Connor Dewar, upper body on IR, expected now to be out until March 3rd. Kelly Yarncronk, with that groin injury, he is on IR, expected to be out until at least February 28th. That's an update there. Yanni Hakanpää, knee injury on IR, expected to be out until at least March 8th. And it looks like Max tweaked something in practice and was not going to play tonight. For Utah, Update on Robert Bortuzzo, lower body on IR, expected to be out until at least February 27th. For Vancouver, we have Quinn Hughes with that oblique injury listed now as day-to-day. Thatcher Demko, lower body on IR, expected to be out until at least March 5th. And Noah Juleson, undisclosed on IR, expected to be out until at least March 5th. For Vegas, we have Shea Theodore with that arm injury, expected to be out until at least March 2nd. Cole Schwint, lower body on IR, expected to be out until at least February 27th. William Carlson, lower body on IR, expected to be out until at least March 2nd. Update coming out of Washington for Sonny Milano with his upper body injury. Now says on IR, expected to be out until at least March 9th. So hopefully we're getting closer to him coming back. And for Winnipeg, Morgan Barron, upper body on IR, expected to be out until at least February 26th.
I just don't know why Washington hasn't put Sonny on long-term IR to free up some room and bring somebody else up. You know what I mean?
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he's been out for like half the season, so you can retroactively put him on LTIR.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what we have for injuries and suspensions. Chris, what's our fantasy hockey update? I know you beat me last week after I was beating you almost all week.
Yeah. So as my PC refuses to work this week, yeah, we had it's been a pain in the ass, this damn computer. So we do have scores. Finally, the week ended for the Fantasy Hockey League. Because of the Four Nations face-off, the league extended that week 18 2 weeks. So our scores, D being our highest scorer this past week, beat Marcello 182 to 179.9. John beat Drew 124 to 106. Wes beat Dave 165 to 137. Maul beat Matt 138 to 125. And the comeback that is actually kind of unfortunate, I ended up beating Danger 163 to 141. This week's matchups currently, Matt and D are going at it. Marcello and John, Drew and Dave, Wes and Danger, and Maul and myself.
Coming for you, buddy.
Okay.
Look, I thought that Matt was going to kick my ass last week, and then I checked my score and I was like, what? I won?
Yeah, well, he was beating you for most of the week, and you must have had a big weekend.
The whole thing.
This does mean that we have some people who have clinched their division and also been eliminated.
Yes.
Officially.
So, our official so far, 2 people have clinched, and 2 people have been eliminated. The 2 that have clinched, I clinched my spot like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And D has clinched her spot. 2 have been eliminated. The unfortunate that it's Marcello and Matt have officially been eliminated from the contention. If the playoffs were to start right now, it would still be Wes, myself, Drew, and D. Week 19, which is our current week, biggest score right now is Drew with 16. So, bro, we out here. It's gonna be fun, I think. But yeah, that is our update. I do have a question or a trivia question for you guys. And it's we can go 2-part. So
okay,
we are talking about this week Ovi's push to career goals and taking that record. Can you guys tell me what the record is for the most goals in a single season? Do you guys know the number?
Single season?
Single season.
Oh, wow.
487.
No.
That would be...
I'm assuming you mean by
you're not
a
talking in
singular
video
person.
games. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about playing on easy with like everybody injured and everything turned up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you give us a
I feel
range?
like I actually knew this at some point.
No, I know I actually knew this at some point.
It's below 100. No one has ever scored 100 goals in a season.
No, but that would be sick.
That would
First
be
person that does that,
over
first
50
ballot.
though.
It's close. Oh, it's definitely over 50.
It's over 50.
Yeah.
It is.
I think it's in the 80s.
Is it 86?
No. That would put you third on the list.
Okay.
I'll let other people guess before I get a second guess.
I'm gonna throw it out
89.
and I'm gonna say 99.
Wrong.
That would be the record. That would shatter the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danger.
It's gotta be low 90.
Danger, we're all relying on you. Don't let him beat us.
I know it's a Gretzky.
All right, well, yeah. So that
he
answers one of my extra point questions, but yes, it is a Wayne Gretzky stat.
I'm gonna say I thought it was in the top 80s, but I'm gonna say like 91 or 92 then.
Danger got it right. 92.
Really?
In 1981-1982 season, Wayne Gretzky scored 92 goals, 120 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Wow.
Bonus points,
man.
Do you think he was mad that he didn't get 100?
Maybe.
So close. 8 away. I'd be like,
prime of his fucking career. Yeah. Can you tell me how many times Wayne Gretzky's featured in the top 10 seasons for goals for an extra point?
I'm not gonna say. I just looked it up.
All right, so Maul's disqualified.
Yeah, because after I guessed wrong, I was like, I'm curious now.
Yeah. I don't know. I know he holds first and second for most goals.
He does, yes.
But I don't know if he holds more than that.
He's on it like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Which in itself is
But
wild.
I don't know if it's that many in the top 10.
So Danger is the closest. He is on there 3 different times. 4 if you count top 11.
Okay.
He holds 90, 92, and 87, which are 1 and 2. And number 8 on the list at 73. 3 goals behind Teemu Selanne, who is 7. I love this stat. 7th in the top 10. Teemu Selanne scored 76 goals in his fucking rookie season.
Yeah.
Can you imagine putting that stat out as a rookie? Like, wild.
No.
There is a reason that Teemu Selanne is in the Hall of Fame. And he played until he was 45.
Is it because he's so hot?
Yes. He's still gorgeous.
It might be because he's so hot. Yeah.
Smash.
I agree.
But yes, number 3 on that list is 86. That is Brett Hull. Number 4 is Mario Lemieux with 85.
Oh, no.
And number 5 is Alexander McGillney with 76 goals. Gordy is not...
I thought that was one that Gordy was like in 3rd or 4th, but that makes sense that he's not.
I mean, Brett Hull, Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, those are 3 of the best goal scorers of all time. I mean, Phil Esposito's on this list. Yari Curry is on this list. Like, these are some of the best goal scorers ever.
Yeah.
Right.
And the most recent to get anywhere near that was little Austin Matthews last season with 69 goals, which puts him tied for 15th on the list with Mario Lemieux and Mike Bossy.
To me, this is an advertisement for goalies. I feel like it's gotten harder to score against some of these goalies.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh, without question.
Like, they're just saving it. I mean, we saw, who was it, Elvis Merzlikins the other day, who denied an empty netter by, like, literally jumping up in the air as he was exiting the ice. It was an insane pull.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Like, he has a career with the
like
NBL.
a fly ball. Yeah,
the
for
MLB.
Put him in the outfield. Or put him at like
100%.
short. Put him at like shortstop or second base.
It was insane to see somebody do that on skates. Genuinely.
Yeah.
No, I think you're correct. This is 100% a testament to how difficult it is now because goaltenders have only gotten better. Goal scorers have gotten better, but goalies have also gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But yeah, I figured that was a fun little one.
Yeah, I like it.
And I guess we'll just go into our final segment, my favorite segment. And it's the obscure NHL Player of the Week. Had to get the little duck in there. This week, our player is a man by the name of Kevin Dineen, who was born in Quebec City, Quebec. This right-handed right winger, was drafted 56th overall in the 1982 draft by the Hartford Whalers. His playing career went from 1984 to 2002. In that span, he played 1,188 games, 355 goals, 405 assists, and 2,229 penalty minutes, which he is the leader in penalty minutes for what franchise?
AHL.
Yeah, AHL as a whole is a franchise now.
Yeah,
the whole
he just
AHL.
represents. He just beat every single player in the whole AHL combined.
Yeah. Kevin Dineen. I'm gonna say
the hard part is it's a name that looks familiar to me.
Yeah, well, he was around for
what
the
year
90s,
did
early
he
2000s.
play?
Okay. 1984 to 2003.
Jesus.
I'm gonna go Islanders. Fuck it.
All right. Danger.
Did we already do them? I don't know.
We did.
I don't know.
Is
Final
it
vote.
in the NHL?
Yeah.
Oh,
what the fuck? Well, yeah, I'm gonna pick a CHL team.
You know what though? You throw curveballs like that.
With almost 1,200 career NHL games, yeah, I'm gonna pick a Russian league team.
Yeah.
Could be like a beer league team. I don't know.
Okay. So, do you want to take a guess?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a guess. Arizona Coyotes.
No, we've already done them. It would be the Carolina Hurricanes. He spent the majority of his career with the Hartford Whalers, as well as a few seasons with the Philadelphia Flyers and the Ottawa Senators and the Columbus Blue Jackets, but played 2 seasons with the team all the way up until they moved to Carolina, thus making him the career leader for the Carolina Hurricanes. He has done other work outside of the NHL. He is currently the head coach for the AHL's Utica Comets, which is crazy because in November 19th, 2021, as head coach in his first season, the Comets broke the record for longest win streak to start a season in the AHL history with 13 consecutive wins.
Wow.
I thought you were going to say that they broke the history for most fights, because it sounds like you should be a boxing coach.
Yeah.
He has also been a head coach for the Florida Panthers, the Portland Pirates, the San Diego Gulls, and was an assistant coach for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Portland Pirates, how I miss them.
There you go.
Yeah, they are.
Rip.
The San Diego Gulls made me actually laugh inside my head because
that's the Anaheim
just the
Ducks
thought
AHL affiliate.
Yeah. But the thought of naming a hockey team after seagulls in California
actually
just makes
their
me
logo. Well, yeah, in San Diego it makes sense. But their logo is pretty badass.
But when you laugh, you have to laugh like a seagull, though.
Can you laugh like a seagull?
Mine.
I'm not doing that on.
You're rats with wings. I mean, he did get to represent Canada 5 or 6 different times through the Olympics and the World Cup of Hockey and the Canada Cup, which is actually pretty badass. So shout out to you, Kevin Dineen. And we are continuing to go down the list here of NHL teams.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Chris, for that and for being here. And Dee and Mal, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And thank you to all of you out there listening and or watching. We certainly love you. Feel free to weigh in on our question of the week. Let us know who you think the cup contenders could be. You know, who's your sleeper pick? Let us know. For Chris's sake, let us know your favorite color. And
but no one's guessed mine,
make sure
so you know.
Chartreuse.
Yeah, it's definitely chartreuse.
Baby poop brown.
It's pews.
Purple. It's purple.
No, it's not.
He says while smiling and trying
No,
to.
it's not.
It's not always the color of your room, but you know.
Yeah.
I mean, my room is pink, to be fair, but
yeah, it is pink.
Well, your camera
It
says
does look kind of
otherwise.
Will you smell
But
fire?
IRL.
Okay, children, don't make me separate
And
you.
on that note,
Mommy's touching me.
On that note, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, do all of the things that whatever method you're watching and or listening to this on does, because I don't know all of them anymore. But thank you, motherfuckers. We certainly love you guys, and we will see you next time in the Face Off Circle.